our work in progress, trying to envision what is going to happen with the property. There is the rendering that's down at the bottom on your left side is from Steve Hubbard. This was drawn in 2010. It was envisioning what the house might look like. There was an interesting dynamic that occurred with that drawing. The house had the name, the Howard Senior and Mabel Chan Museum. And it was interesting the reaction we got from that. There were a lot of people who said, well, that's very exciting, but my name's not Chan. Why would that matter? And we came to realize that there's two parts to this story. There's one is the Chan family story, which is very important in its own right. The other is the context around that, the Chinese that came here. And as we mentioned, the second largest Chinese community in California. There's an important story here. And so the expectation is, yes, that will always be the Howard Senior and Mabel Chan house. The museum will be the Folsom Chinese Heritage Museum to tell the story of the Chan family and that larger context. What we have come to realize even more is that isn't all of the context, because the Chinese came here during the gold rush, along with people from just about everywhere else. And if you think about what happened, the California gold rush was really unique in human history. People came from all over the world to a place where there was essentially no infrastructure. And they had to work together. And they had to develop and collaborate with coming up with ways to survive and build things with raw materials. And there was that point initially where it didn't matter where you came from or what language you spoke or what color your skin was. It was community. And that's important. And that's important in Folsom today. And if you think about it, what came from the California gold rush has evolved into what California is today. And I like to think of it as the California gold rush was the most successful startup incubator in human history. Because so much has evolved from that. So much has become the innovation hub of the world. And it's because it was people from all over the world. It was the diversity of this community that made it so special. And so part of our mission, if we get this far, and this is still many steps ahead, is to move beyond a Chinese Heritage Museum and build a second building behind the original house that would expand into the Museum of the Cultural History of this region, to talk about how this was a place that really defines what California is today, the most innovative and the most diverse state in the nation. And it's an important story. And it's important to realize how much of it happened here. Folsom was really, in many ways, Grand Central Station of the California Gold Rush. And it is absolutely important that we not forget that. And so that's the mission of the Historical Society. That's the mission with this new project. There's details here. There's many more details still to be worked out. And all of you that are here today, I would encourage you to look at the sign-up sheets we have here. There's about 8 different committees that we're going to need to figure this out. How are we going to restore the building? What are the exhibits going to be? How are we going to do the fundraising? And then there's one special opportunity I want to add. Some of you may know the video production teacher at Folsom High School named Scott Southard. Anybody? Two of you? Oh, good. Yeah. Scott and I had a conversation about what is interesting about what we're trying to do. There is a lot of collective memory in Folsom of our history. And it seems like every week or so we read about someone else who was part of Folsom's history who's gone. And Scott has offered on an ongoing basis to use his students in his video productions class in Folsom High to do recordings of anyone who has memories of growing up in Folsom, of being part of Folsom, and actually anywhere in the Sacramento region, because we're all intertwined in this story. And so there's a sign-up sheet here for anyone who might be interested in telling their story. And we intend to have that be part of our museum, is the collection of the archive of all of those videos. Because people will be gone at some point, but their memories don't have to go with them. And so if you would all help with that, that would be absolutely wonderful. We'd love to see you do that. Terry, I believe you had wanted to say a word?
Just thanks to everybody that was here, and thanks to everybody that has worked so hard on this for going on 20 years. I'm just really happy to see it finally moving.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Ernie, did you want to... Yeah. Oh, I think Ernie has something to say.